Hey friends, it's your pal Mike Shea from Sly Flourish, here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy GM Prep. In this weekly show, I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master while preparing for my Sunday role-playing game. In this case, I am running the role-playing game Tales of the Valiant by Kobold Press, set in Kobold Press's home setting of Midgard, particularly in an area known as the Marathi Empire, the Dragon Empire. This show, like all of the work of Sly Flourish, is brought to you by the patrons of Sly Flourish. Patrons get access to all kinds of tips, tricks, tools, the 5e artisanal database, adventure scenarios for City of Arches, talk show database, our dedicated Discord server, and more. Patrons get a lot of things you get for becoming a patron of Sly Flourish. And most of all, as a patron, you get to help me put on shows like this. To the patrons of Sly Flourish, thank you so much for your support. So last session, where were we? I don't remember. Let's go to our Obsidian Notes here and take a look. So they were making their way to the Colosseum of the Red Sun. And along the way, I think I have pictures because I made some cool props and stuff like that. They met here's a cool picture. They met a different group of dragons from Lashmarak. This was the little setup we did here. This kind of shows how you can use Dwarven Forge as what they call scatter terrain. You don't have to fill out an entire thing. You can just put some cliffs. And you can't really see it behind the great big dragon that they fought. And they did fight a great big dragon. They were excited about that. But behind the dragon was another kind of cool thing. And it had both light and smokes, light and smoke effects. I think I can show that here. Yeah, this was let's see, like cool steam effect. People got excited about that. They were like, "Ooh, that thing's cool." And I had sort of effects that if you go up there, I don't remember if anybody used it or not, but I had sort of effects that it was connected to a realm, an altar to Nidhogg. I picked up Nidhogg from Labyrinth, the new book, the Plainier book that Kobold Press just came out. And I'm going to talk about that on the talk show. So we had some ideas for that, but I knew it was going to start off with a great big fight. Along the way, fighting a bunch of hobgoblins, 2 hobgoblin commanders, 8 hobgoblins, and a young red dragon at this altar, Salos Goldtooth at the Agents of Lashmarak. So they fought them, they defeated them, then they made their way to the journey. They found a bridge along the way that crossed over sort of a dried river. And on the bridge, they ran into some agents of the dragon, what's his name? Adish. And there was a commander, there was like a dragonborn commander of Adisha who was there, but he was like the commander who got demoted to the worst job, which is like guarding a bridge, right? It's like he and his guards had to guard a bridge. And it turned out it's because he can be completely bought. And so the characters are buying him off as they're pretending to be agents of, because they have badges now. They've got official badges that say, "We are the hunters." This was so much fun. And the players really did enjoy this. The characters are now hired by agents of Ibelin to hunt down the ne'er-do-wells who assassinated dragons in the north, and which means that they're literally hired to hunt themselves, right? Because they were the ones who did that. And so they do it. They are enjoying the idea that, wait a minute, we are actually official hunters of ourselves. Like that. That's pretty great. It's like right out of The Departed, right? It's like, guess what? Guess what, Frank? They're hiring me to find myself. Like they're looking for the insider. I'm the insider. Right? They hired me to find myself. So, yeah. So the characters are excited about that. So now they're acting as agents of Ibelin and using the badges, their legitimate badges that they have to say, "We are hunting for these guys around here. What do you know about it?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know, but I heard they stole a lot. I heard they stole up to 20,000 gold." And like, "Yeah, we think it might have been more than 20,000 gold." I'm like, "What's more than that?" And it was 3 million gold that they lost, but no one wants to admit how much gold they lost, right? Like it's being sort of obfuscated. Certainly Ibelin is trying to obfuscate the fact that that Ibelin lost 3 million gold of other dragons' money, ODM, right? Other dragons' money. And so the characters then made their way over the bridge, dealt with that, and now they are outside of the city and the Colosseum around it. And they made the choice that there was a former goblin citadel outside of the city, a small keep. And the agents of, Balthazar Darkstar, a blue dragon of Adisha, is seeking magic items and has the Sword Singer mercenaries operating out of there. And the character said, instead of having these guys at our back while we're trying to go in there, why don't we take care of these guys right now? Like, let's go after them right now. And so today's session is going to be them dealing with this keep and taking care of Darkstar, the dragon. And they love, one thing this campaign is turning into is a, big dragon hunt. Like, they just love killing evil dragons. And boy, they now have killed 3 and they're heading for their 4th. So yeah, so that's where they are at today's game. So I am going to create a new template. This is our Dragon Empire game. And I'm using Obsidian for my game prep. If you want to learn more about using Obsidian, you can find links in the show notes for using Obsidian for RPG prep. I really enjoy it. I have a few players who cannot make it, but I don't remember which ones. So let me have a quick peek. And so, okay, 2 cannot make it. So Rowan can't make it and Tolstoy can't make it. But I think everyone else is in. So if we're, the strong start is, let's see, I want to have something happens, and then I need the name of this. I got to actually open up the old notes because I had all the names in there I'm going to forget, like the name of the keep. Stonewatch. The Goblin Keep of Stonewatch. The characters are currently 7th level, I think. They'll get 8th level when they recover the Helm of Teleportation that they're seeking. And we have I think we got some maps for this now. So that is, I think that's underneath the Colosseum. This is the town itself, and then this is the Goblin Ruin. So we'll keep this map handy because I'm going to fill this out. Yeah, it's interesting. It only has like one little doorway that leads into the main area. We can, of course, do hey, you have 3 ways to get in. But I think something happens. So, I want, like, before they even get it, I want to kind of have something happen. And an interesting thing that could be happening is the dragon could arrive or the dragon could leave. So I think we'll go to the 5e Artisanal Monster Database. This is a set of tools available to patrons of Sly Flourish. Fully downloadable tool set. We'll go to our dice roller. Okay, so I'm going to roll a d6. And I think on a 1, 2, or 3, Darkstar leaves. On a 4, 5, or 6, Darkstar returns. So Darkstar is either leaving or returning. I think, and that's, I could do another one where Darkstar is there but not leaving. But I think it's more interesting. My cat is walking around looking for a mouse. He's like, there's more of them around here. So 1, 2, or 3, he's coming in. 1, 2, or 3, he's leaving. 4, 5, or 6, he's returning. So he is leaving. Okay, so that is interesting, right? That is an interesting thing that's going to happen. So Darkstar, whoops, that was not what I wanted to do. There we go. So Darkstar flies out over the Citadel from Stormwatch. I am doing my dirty trick, which I like, of like mixing the location names into my other areas so that I don't necessarily have to keep track of them in other spots. And the name of the city, there was a town around it. So let's see, Coppervein. Darkstar flies out over Coppervein from Stonewatch. See, we got proper names in here, Darkstar. We've got location names, Coppervein and Stonewatch. Good lot of stuff piled in. And we've got, like, think about how much we've packed into one sentence. We've packed in a main NPC, 2 locations, and a situation within the strong start in, like, not a lot of words. That's pretty great. How many words was that? 10 words. 10 words, and we have three elements of the steps embedded in them. So that's great. And then the main scene, and like we're packing a lot into this scene, is the infiltration of Stonewatch. And once they've handled Stonewatch, and I don't know what they're going to do, right? I don't need to know what they're going to do. And then journey through Coppervein to the Colosseum. I never know how to spell Colosseum. To the Colosseum of the Red Sun. I'm going to bold that. And this is probably a few adventures worth of stuff. So they journeyed through Coppervein to the Colosseum of the Red Sun, crawl the trap rooms, recover the helm. And that's pretty much it, right? That's their plan. They've made their choices already. And this is sort of the plan of where things are going to go. But like infiltration of Stonewatch might be the whole session today, right? I think that's going to be a big part of it. Let's do a quick I'm actually going to come back to the characters after I do some of the rest, because I could sort of tie them in with things that are going on once I have a better idea of the things that are specifically going on. Although that can be kind of backwards, because sometimes the whole purpose is to have the characters and their backgrounds in mind while I'm building out the rest of this. So let me think about that. So I think an interesting one is Emmert. Friends had been executed at the Colosseum. Emmert's hometown was wiped out by the Dragon Empire, in recent years. Oh, but we also have the fun bit of the Colosseum is that it's been overtaken by a sand aboleth. Yeah, can I ever pack all 8 steps into one sentence? I don't know that that's going to be possible. Is our rogue knows that and his followers have little... I don't need to put knows that. I can cut a couple words here. Adasha and his followers have little motivation, little patience for the, I want to say delectability, politics of the other Morza. Gaudenzia and Cal, but Gaudenzia and Cal both kind of notice this probably. Something has twisted nature around Coppervein. It gets worse the closer to the Colosseum. Cal, who is a druid, what would Cal know? I mean, again, so, is there a second part of this, that the twisted nature around Coppervein? I mean, both of them kind of know it. Is there anything else that there are liquids here, since she ran a winery, that do not exist in the world? Weird secretions from aberrants. Aberrant. That could be kind of cool. Slimy dead bodies, the slime upon which you go, this weird slime is not something we know. Mateo, the mechanist, can probably feel the pull of a powerful magic item in the trap rooms. So that gives him a little bit of a sixth sense of because he can do a lot of things like touching magic items and figuring out where they are. I think he has magic item sense the same way that paladins have, what my wife calls paladar, for figuring out undead and, are there undead and demons around here? So I think those are pretty good. So some secrets and clues. Let's see what we can take from the last one. Various city-states use the Colosseum. I think this is a good one. I like that one. Treasure hunters of Adasha. We know that. Nidhogg we already dealt with. We can have Tamarli Balthazar Darkstar. Young blue dragon of Adasha seeks powerful magic items to shore up Adasha's ranks should he wage war against the other Morza. I think it's that last part that's really useful. This one is more I needed to remember the sword singers. We probably need an NPC, who leads the sword singers? Let's get an NPC for a random generator here. Stone Carol. Thania. She is an elf. So Thania is an elf sage of Adasha, hunts for the treasure. But and then let's see. Pontarus, Stone Carol. Look, Stone Carol's fine. Dwarf criminal with uneven teeth leads the sword singers. Hey, my mom is here. Hi, Mom. Mom, Carson caught a mouse and dragged it right to my front door right before our show. And Michelle found it when she was bringing me a coffee. And Carson was very proud. I have pictures. I will send them later. Yep. He was very excited about it. Exciting mornings. So we've got some stuff about the sword singers here. Let's see. Darkstars and the Sword Singers are Goblin. We know that. Darkstar and the Sword Singers conscripted the people of the Sands. So that one we're going to keep that secret too. The people of the Sands are folk who operate out of the villages here. Some of them are nomadic. Some of them lived in villages, and they've been brought in because, like many, they have been conscripted to go delve in. I like this, that there was Coppervein was a goblin. Town of Coppervein surrounds the Colosseum. It was a goblin mining town before the dragons came. Powerful otherworldly force. Those who return from their expeditions have their minds splintered and speak of Din. Din is the sand aboleth. Other aberrant horrors lurk in Coppervein in the hidden subterranean passages beneath. That's a good one. Some speak of giant walking crab monsters who eviscerated their allies. Those would be Chul. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 8 secrets. What other... So now we know where they're going, so we can think about generally what kind of secrets they would pick up from the followers. The amount of money stolen from the three Morza. The dragons, let's see, Ibelin and her agents lie about the amount of money stolen from the three Morza. They don't want anyone to think it has destabilized them. They don't want to think it's like, they don't want it to sound like a very big deal. That could be something they would learn from the mercenaries here. What else could they learn from exploring around this area? I need one more secret, and then I'll feel good about it. Any other larger dragon empire sort of thing? I mean, I think a big secret that we can kind of change this one, that Adisha seeks powerful magic items should he wage war. Adisha seeks powerful magic items should war break out between the Morza. It's like he's not worried about external war. He believes that internal battles are at play. I think that could be good. Is there any secret here that could steer them on their next path when they're done with the helm? Something else that they want to do. So they're the Dragon Hunters of Mott. That could be one. The Dragon Hunters of Mott cause chaos for Adisha's trade routes. Adisha's forces, Cat decided now that he's done with the mouse, he's going to go use the litter box. Dragon Hunters of Mott cause chaos for the Adisha's trade routes. Adisha's forces behave severely with those they catch. So the Dragon Hunters of Mott are like another group that sort of operates out of the desert here, and they are a mean group, but they hate the dragons as much as anybody. So they're kind of like a dark, sinister ally, and the characters could work with them, Lawrence of Arabia style. So that feels good. That gives me my 10 secrets. Plenty of lore to work with there. So fantastic locations. I don't know that we need to do much here. So really what I need to do today is fill out the Goblin Ruins, right? I need to have what's going on in here. I don't necessarily need to fully annotate the map, but I would like to have some ideas about what's happening here. Let's see, I think we can close last week's notes. So I don't need fantastic locations. I guess, yeah, so what we'll do is I'll just write a list of Stonewatch locations, and we'll do lower Stonewatch. And instead of a list, I'm just going to kind of jot down some ideas. So lower has muddy crypts. Yeah, it's the goblins kind of buried some folks down here. We'll have corpse pools. That's nasty. We like that. This one's mostly what it looks like, right? When we look at this, whoops, that's not what I want to do. When we look at this map, actually what we'll do is we'll reveal in Finder. That's handy. And then I can drop it in here. So I think there's old crypts here. There is probably some kind of, I think a gibbering mouther down here in that pool would be pretty great. I think that, so it's a ruined keep. And I think that there's crypts below. The crypts probably have sodden corpses, which would be like zombies, gibbering mouther, wailing specters. I think and I think that this is actually a secret that's probably pretty important. A sunken culvert exists that leads below Stonewatch. Culvert. Not a culvert, a culvert. And it leads into this undead area. So they could come up that way if they want. That way they wouldn't be kind of discovered quite a bit. There's also the main entrance, which is pretty well guarded. And then the roof is open to the top. Looking at that lower area, there's not really a lot there. So I don't know that we need to fill it out. There's crypt areas. There's probably spectral crypt areas. Is there a shrine down there? Would anybody have built a shrine at any point? And to who? We could have a shrine to Camazotz. That'd be kind of fun. Right, if we go look at let's look at Labyrinth, see what Labyrinth has to say about Camazotz for funsies. Pantheon. This is the new Labyrinth book, which has a lot of the gods from, Adrika would be kind of a fun one. Mother of Madness, Lady of the White Bat, Maker of the Black Road. Adrika appears strange elderly, yeah, this would work. Elderly Darrow who babbles constantly. She spills wisdom, but her hymns are nonsense. Symbol of a white bat. So I think we will have a shrine to Adrika. And do we have, we'll put in a secret about her. Excellent. So that's kind of a fun location that would be below. Let's go back to our notes. I think that's enough for the lower. And then the mid-level, we're going to make these bullets, and that way they will sit nicer on a page. So for the mid-level, we have squalid. I don't know how to spell squalid. There we go. There's probably, where are the prisoners? Okay, the prisoners are probably in that upper left. And they are kept in like, prisoner den. That's the upper left. And let's see. Oh, that's where they execute prisoners and throw them down in the pit. And they never go down there. They say, oh, we know there's terrible things down there. We don't care. We don't go down there. So they have the central tower. Let's see, guard posts. That upper right chamber is kind of interesting. That has to be a supply area. That makes sense. And then upper, we don't really need much for this. So the upper has a couple of different places. Officers. Oh, let's see. We have the sage's study. That'd be the upper right. That's where he's kind of operating out of. We have the dining hall, and we have the mercenary quarters. So that's pretty good. I think notable NPCs, we've already sort of got here. I just got to make sure I got the names. Thena Stonecowl, the elf sage, is in the secrets. Pontarus, Stone Carol, the dwarf criminal. I think that works. So we don't really need that. So we have the lower monsters, and then we have probably how many mercenaries are there? So the captured folk are just pretty like commoners. We don't even need to put a stat block on them. The mercenaries, we probably have a couple dozen bandits. Would they have that many? 18 bandits. And then there probably is a bandit captain. We'll have a couple of bandit captains. We have some veterans, probably 6 veterans, 4 veterans, and they could be out kind of doing stuff. And that makes up the mercenary company. And then, of course, we have our young blue dragon and probably a mage, right? I think that we have the sage, but I think he's probably a mage. I think that works. Treasure. We're going to go back to the artisanal database, and we'll roll on the Tales of the Valiant treasure list here. They are 5th to 10th level, and a pearl power. They'll like that. This generator needs help. It's got some problems because it's separating out gemstones, but we don't need to separate out gemstones. Dark Elven gold bracelet and earring set worth 500 gold. You can condense that. We'll get rid of it. I don't really like the uncommon magic item or the common magic items as much. I think there's not enough of them, and they kind of show up over and over again. I'm going to drop a couple relics in here, though. Celestial Sapphire Hammer that casts Prayer of Healing. That's not bad. And Orcish Ethereal Bone that casts Legend Lore. We'll make this a Darrow Ethereal Bone that casts Legend Lore. Those look good. Those are a couple good relics. Relics are single-use magic items that are kind of like a easy to drop in treasure. And I think that works. So do I feel like I've got everything I need? I think I feel pretty good about it, right? Like this is the main thing. Like, I don't think they're going to be able to get through all of this in one session, or I don't think they're going to go far outside of this. Can I improvise the rest? And the answer is probably yes. I might drop in a monument when they're going through Coppervein. Elemental Flaming Arcane Circle. So I think it would be more, a fungoid earthen meteorite. That's cool. We'll call it of the void. And this is where, this could be sort of a catalyst for the aberrant invasion. I think that could be kind of neat. And they'll find that along the way in Coppervein. Yeah, I dig that. So that gives us kind of another sort of, if they manage to get through everything, then I've got like another sort of encounter, and then I can go look at aberrant stuff. They could face some aberrant things there. But I think we are all set. So I am going to export this to PDF, and let's see. I bet you I could do, let's try 90% scaling. Let's see if that fits on one page. It does. I'm going to hit print, and my notes are all set for my game today. The game is happening at my house today, so that's pretty easy. Friends, I want to thank you for hanging out with me today while we did my lazy RPG prep. If you enjoyed this show and you want to get more stuff like this, the best thing you can do is subscribe to the Sly Flourish newsletter. It is absolutely free to sign up. You can find a link down in the show notes. You get a free adventure generator and miniature version of 5e, all available in a PDF for signing up, absolutely free. And you get a weekly RPG-related email with links to all of the other work that I do each week. You can also support me directly on Patreon. Patrons get access to things like the 5e Artisanal Database, which includes all these tools that you saw me using. It includes a whole bunch of different scenarios and adventures and all kinds of great stuff that you get for being a patron of Sly Flourish, as well as access to our dedicated Discord server and much more. And you can pick up any of my books, including The City of Arches, Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, Forge of Foes, and more, available on the Sly Flourish bookstore. Links for all of those in the show notes. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and get out there and play an RPG.